Canada in the Rocky Mountains is where I live. I have a bit of a cold, I apologize. And yeah, there's lots of snow outside, and we true Canadians love it. Are we live? Good day, good evening, everybody. My name is Todd Standing. I'm the man who takes people out into the wilderness and has them either live interact with or eyewitness a Sasquatch. I'm the court case guy. I'm the species protection guy. I'm the guy that does lots of things that are related to Sasquatch, and I do mean a lot. So, SoCal Force Ninjas, thank you everybody for tuning in so much today. I'm going to be answering lots of questions because every time I come on here, these people that come on, they have just the most fantastic questions. So I thought I'd start the show off with just something that I thought of sitting here. Very tired, very exhausted, been working my butt off, working on the next documentary. And what was I going to say? Oh yeah, so my dog walked by, and I thought, I guess if you follow me on Instagram and some of my YouTube videos that I'm walking around, you can see there's a doggy with me. I'm quite a dog guy. I love my dog. And I tell you, I don't see any. I think everything I've had to do with my dog and Sasquatch has been like oil and water. My dog is she's super calm. She's extremely well trained. She's highly disciplined. She's just this incredible, amazing dog. And when bears come around, she behaves well. When we had a mountain lion come around, she was excellent. But when it's Sasquatch, she just doesn't work. And I don't think it benefits the Sasquatch either. I think the Sasquatch are very anti-dog as well. So I thought, and I remember going up to in Radium with my dog. I went on a big hike with her right up across the mountain, and I was super fit. And I did this big 2-day loop with her, and I felt like I know the Sasquatch were watching me, and I felt like I was kind of showing off, like, hey, look at my wolf. But yeah, in the end, I just think because the Sasquatch did come around on the second night out, and it just was bad. My dog was growling and snappy, and she was scared, and she just kind of loses control, and I feel like the Sasquatch are kind of baiting her and stuff. So it was yeah, not something I just maybe people have good Sasquatch dogs, but not me. Hello Australia, people from all over the world. It's pretty cool. We always have some UK people, some Irish people, Japanese people. We had, of course, Australians are huge supporters of the Sasquatch, Bigfoot / Yowie thing. And it's actually, even now we're just being arrogant, right? Because it's the Yeren, the Yeti, there's all these names all over the place. So yeah. So let's do some questions here, guys. Cape Breton, that's in Canada. Alice, welcome, Jason. So we're gonna do some cool Sasquatch questions, and I need really good questions today, guys. I need to get offended. I need to get shocked a little bit. I want you guys to push me into so many uncomfortable places that I've never been before. You ever come to the Sierras in Central California? Yes, Martin. And there are Sasquatch there for sure. When I was doing the California court case, I had to find Sasquatch in California, and so I went down there. And before I even started the court case, because just to be clear on it, you can't go sue Fish and Wildlife and to call them derelict in their duty for not recognizing Sasquatch, and then win the case. And then what do? And the answer is I take them and show them a Sasquatch. So that was the case in California, and yeah. So I mean, that was immensely important. That's the documentary that I'm working on right now. Is California Sasquatch. I have no idea what they're going to call it, but that's what I'm calling it. So Stephen, excuse me, went back to the area. I've had encounters again. I haven't done anything different, but the Sasquatch I know didn't take my gifts and seemed distant. Do you have any ideas why? So you went back to the area, had encounters again. I haven't done anything different. The problem is there's so many parameters, right? Maybe you didn't do anything different, but maybe something different happened to them. There's all these things that you cannot account for. Yeah, getting them to take gifts is a really, really big deal. It's so hard. Sasquatch, just for me, it's been extremely rare to have to taking gifts from you is almost, it's a definite sign of respect too, that we respect you. We're allow it's even maybe a permission, right? Because if you're on their land, which it is their land and their territory, and you give them a gift, now it's like they've given you permission to be there. So when they take gifts from you, man, it's really, really, really a big deal. And people, I tell you, when it was happening for me, when they were taking gifts from me, I would almost get teary-eyed. Like, it was such a big deal that they would finally take gifts. It's so much work. It's so hard, and it's really, Stephen, let them watch you and do your thing in nature. And yeah, I don't know. I require more input, Stephen, to really figure out why uh, the Sasquatch, they just don't take your gifts and seem distant. Yeah, and they were closer before. Yeah, just time of year. Even sometimes, maybe one particular, what I find is there's one particular individual that'll be the most, that'll come around you the most and interact with you the most. And for whatever reason, maybe that individual was sleeping when you were there that time. Maybe he was on a little hike somewhere else. So and maybe the males were away. Maybe it's a couple males, and you're just dealing with females. Like, we're really when we do this research, I just feel so freaking blinded, because the Sasquatch are out in the dark, and I'll whistle or make a wood knock or anything I do. Did the Sasquatch come closer? Did they go far away? Were they upset by it? Did they like it? Like, you just don't know. You just got to keep trying and doing things, but you have to do things in a very, very patient manner, because they're a very patient species. They have all the time in the world, and they have every reason to be concerned about interacting with people. So it's it's a lot. Good evening, Todd from Fairway, Michigan. Hello, Michigan. Parkway. Mike, Todd, any new videos yet? Well, I have new videos, but I have so much work to go through the darn things, and I'm just falling behind with so much stuff. This is going to be like a very crappy week for me, but you got to roll with the punches. So, Todd, sup, Todd, Jake and Jacob here. Give us a shout out, buddy. Are you serious? Jake and Jacob? Because that's what I call two of my Sasquatch out here. So I wonder if he's being facetious or he really has that going on. Hey, Todd. Hey, Leo. What's up? Hello, Todd. So I'm a little ill today. Need some questions, guys, because I'm on cough medicine right now, so I'm a little slow today. So you guys can pick fun at me if you want, but I'm going to talk a little bit slower. And the haters won't get to me today, that's for sure. Not like we often have them, but James Y. Todd, how does Sasquatch stay warm in the winter months when temperatures plummet? Caves, do you think their hair thickness? Yeah, brutal, James. That's why I don't chase them, or it's not chase them. I don't even try to interact with them in the wintertime, because they must have a cave, and I have seen a Sasquatch cave at least once in my life. And yeah, they'd have to maybe they cuddle up with each other. I don't know. I don't think they have skins, animal hides, animal skins. I just think they have the body composition, and they just lie around and eat meatsicles. It's hard. It'd be tough, but I don't know if they're used to it. That's why you don't see their tracks very much, because they must be just held up. I mean, caves is the thing. That's what I'd go with. They're held up in caves. Keep their feet off the ground, out of the snow, because that would freeze you up. And yeah, it's so hard. The winters are so tough. And then when the Sasquatch get older, or when they have the really young ones, it's scary. Like, winter will kill you slowly, and you don't even see it coming. The cold will seep into you. When I do those longer expeditions, you just lose, like, you could lose, a quarter of a degree every day, and 7 days later you come back and you're cold, man. Like, it gets to you, and that fluffy silver lining attitude when you're freezing to death is it's terrible. People get, I feel fine, I feel great, and then and they get hypothermia and they don't survive. So it's pretty awful. Roker Skipa. I wish somebody, just one person, that I'd have a name. There, Eric Burns. I can pronounce that one. Anyways, Roker. I heard Sasquatch was good with wolves, coyotes, and Australian border collies. I don't know. Good with wolves. I've never seen any evidence of wolves reacting or interacting. Coyotes, nothing. I'd actually like to hear some stuff. Oh no, wait! I saw a Sasquatch chase a coyote badly. Chase a coyote down in Montana, like pissed off at him. And I guess that's the strongest impression I've ever had, is that Sasquatch feel like the dogs are kind of pesky and annoying to them. So I could be wrong, but just that's what my gut tells me, the feeling that I have from it. Todd, have a look in western Montana, 9 Mile area, and Flathead Reserve. Oh, Jason, you don't have to convince me. Montana's a great spot. So I always hear tons of stuff. I've spent a lot of time there. The terrain is very, very similar to Alberta, so I absolutely love it. Can't wait to come down there. Todd, have you ever found a Sasquatch day camp? Oh. No, I don't really see, but I don't really, what's a Sasquatch camp? I don't really see that. Maybe those nests that people are talking about. But no, what I do see though are like play areas where they'll be bending and twisting. It seems like they just want to go dick around with wood, and they bend and twist and make a mess of an area. So I've seen that quite a few times. One of them should have been featured on Survivor Man Bigfoot, but he just had other footage that he wanted to showcase, and he unfortunately didn't put that in, which was very unfortunate. Have I been hit with bioacoustics or infrasound? Yes, talked about that quite a few. Parkway's asking me that. Yeah, I even just in the Calgary Zoo, a gorilla hit me with infrasound, completely rendered me, I don't know, I guess I was unconscious, like I was like stunned, maybe not unconscious, but I was definitely stunned for a few seconds. Like I felt like I almost went out, and then I was being shaken by the primatologist there going, wake up, and that really happened. So I went out, so it was that much of a shock. So it's pretty significant. Hello, Tracy from California. Robert. Okay, SoCal Forest Ninjas SRG. Do you think aggression in Sasquatch can vary due to the amount of land and their disapproval? Yes. Amount of land? Yeah, they're going to be more territorial with each other if there's less land. So I would think yes to that one. What I've been noticing though, SoCal, is like, as an example, there were Sasquatch in Kananaskis, and they're not so much there anymore. Like the numbers get thinner. And what I really noticed was in Morley, where I was doing some Sasquatch research on the reserve there with the native people. Excuse me. The year before I came, there were tracks from a big male. The year that I was there, we saw no tracks. Even 2 years later, there were no tracks from the big male at all. And we saw lots of other signs that the mother, what we had is a mom, a big sister, a brother, and then a little guy. And the little guy was probably, we're thinking around 5 years old. And anyways, what was crazy though is, and even now, is that those Sasquatch, they seem to be cut off by logging, and no new male there. And then what happens when she dies away? It just felt like the group was shrinking. It felt like there was that loss of land equals loss of habitat, right? And and there's nobody new moving in there. It was just that was my feeling. And I hate going by my feelings so much, but I'm so limited with data, and I don't know. Just when you don't know for sure, just go with your gut, right? So, but yeah, and of course their disapproval, SoCal Forest Ninjas, whether they approve of you or not, it's huge, right? Some Sasquatch just will never approve of me particularly, and that was what was so interesting in California too. Is there's 3 native men that are there, a father and his 2 sons, doing that research where I filmed the Sasquatch in California, and they like them. They just didn't like me at all. And they're definitively native, like they got the native look, so maybe they just had something against white people. So hate to think that, but that's probably not. It's just the native people were very respectful and close to nature and quiet and private. That's the difference between them and me, is I'm this big public figure, and I don't know if anybody would see it or notice it with me, but because there are people watching my stuff, there's people thinking about me all the time. I'm a topic, my YouTube channel is getting over 3 million minutes a month watched, so somebody's always watching and thinking, does that bring you energy? Does that bring you power? I don't know. And the reason I say that is I remember the first time I ever saw Les Stroud, Survivor Man, and I almost like, I couldn't quite make him out 100%, but I knew he was there because there was this powerful individual, and he was just like shining, and people know him, and he's famous, and everywhere he goes, he gets hugged, and because he's so beloved, he's such a amazing guy, and yeah, so maybe I have that a little bit. Maybe Sasquatch wouldn't like that. So hard to say. See, another thing I learned from the people in Morley too, this was crazy, was when I first started working with them. Actually, the reason I found out about the Morley people having a Sasquatch thing is when I was in the front page of the local newspaper. It was a big newspaper, the Calgary Herald. A very big, like a million people live in Calgary. Not enormous, but it's over a million. So they called me and they said, would you let us know when you're going to do that? Because it makes the Sasquatch crazy. And I thought, what the hell is he talking about? Make him crazy? Because every time I'd be in the newspaper, the Sasquatch would get all crazy. And his perspective was that they'd feel the energy and they'd feel a little violated because people were thinking about them. So, and I don't know. Are we going to get a little paranormal this show, I guess? I'm doing that all by myself. But yeah, so that's about as far as I'll go with that. Caxus Tex. Okay, I plan on going to Texas in April. Hope the virus doesn't prevent me from going. I'm sorry, I live under a rock. There's a virus going on right now? That sucks. Sorry to hear it. Do you find many tracks in 9-inch size? That's a consistent size I'm finding. Holy crap, Tim. Well, 9-inch is an individual at a particular age. I cannot see that. I mean, next year it should be 10 inches or, bigger. I don't see that being in Florida you have the skunk ape there, but I don't think they'd be that small because a 9-inch track is small. That's what would I even guesstimate that as? I should have a little book to guesstimate ages based on tracks, because I do have that research somewhere. Just can't come to mind right now. I don't have it memorized yet, but yeah, that would be just one particular. I would even say Tim T in Florida. It's very likely just one individual, because unless you have twins or triplets or something, because the Sasquatch are going to be born at varying times, and if you do have two, if it's two males, they'll probably look the same. If it's a male and a female, one track will be slimmer, right? So yeah, but I'd say I've never been in a research area where I found two Sasquatch tracks that I couldn't differentiate. So maybe you can elaborate on that. Are they 9-inch size and they look like different individuals? You're seeing multiple individuals, or maybe because a 9-inch track, I wouldn't expect that individual to be 6 feet tall. So maybe both your individuals are tiny. You've got small Sasquatch. I don't know. Good evening from West Virginia. I love West Virginia. In Ohio, Northwest Ohio, Bigfoots. Like, know more about it. Very curious. Oh yeah, sorry, I don't know anybody from there yet. There's so many Bigfoot groups. Isn't that great? I don't know. I think that's wonderful to start a Bigfoot group, and the fact there's so many of them. Hopefully we can get along. That'd be nice. I guess sometimes we can't. DJ Nasser, Todd, when you and Survivor Man went into that prime location and did not have any actions of Sasquatch, what do you think was the reason? Well, we always had an interaction in every episode. So in Nordic, I mean, season 1, there were multiple individuals. It was fantastic. And then season 2, we had a guy who had, I believe it was a 12-inch track that was wandering around, interacting with us a little bit. And Survivor Man definitely got that too. That was the end of that episode. That was season 2. But I think you're talking about maybe no, it must have been Nordic. It seemed a lot slower, but there's a big difference between a lot slower because there was multiple large individuals around the previous year, but there was still an individual and we still had interactions. So it was just less alive. Well, and there was that. Remember too, the people shooting thing. You guys got to watch the episode. I've talked about it quite a few times. I'm sure most of you have heard me talk about it quite a few times. So, what's another good question? Oh, I see a John Bennernagle question. Just watched Discovering Bigfoot today. Great doc. Great seeing Meldrum and the late Bennernagle in the field. Yeah, it was so great to have them in the field. It was awesome. They really loved it. It was so cool. Hey, Ruben from Central Michigan. How's it going? Northwest Olympics, Makta Nation told me that the eye shine is red. Is that true? My dad said he'd seen eyes with flashlights, bear chasing elk. Well, I'm sure they would be red if you shined a light in them, maybe. But eye shine is kind of a thing. It's one of my little secrets that I keep. I noticed somebody mentioned this, and maybe he'll catch it here. My last track video. Somebody mentioned that I decided to look for 5 things when I see a Sasquatch trackway, and one of those 5 things are, and then I said that, and then I just shut up after that, and that was on purpose because I don't want people knowing what I look for in a trackway yet. So, because it just keeps down. I don't know. People fake stuff. People hoax, right? So, and if you knew my 5 things, you'd be more likely to be able to start faking them, right? But most of what I know about Sasquatch tracks, I'd say 3 of the 5 things anyways, are kind of really well known in pop culture. So, and the 2 of them are just, little things from experience. But Andrew Todar, I think I got that right. Cactus Tex. Jason, we're in Tennessee, so Cactus Tex is finding some stuff in Tennessee. I'd love it if you guys talk to each other. Meetups, all that kind of stuff. Please cooperate. It's powerful. Joseph G says, a Sasquatch used infrasound on me. I was camping and had no reason to be afraid of anything, and it just hit me. Absolute fear and panic. Then I heard the heavy footsteps. So, Joseph G, that doesn't sound like infrasound at all. So, what you might be referring is telepathy, which is very real. Telepathic, telekinesis, all that stuff. It's all real. It's facts. You can't argue with me anymore. Go argue with Princeton and the CIA. They've been using it. Third Eye Spy. Watch it. Excuse me. And anyway, that's all I have to say about that. So, talking about the eye shine. Yeah, but anyways, infrasound. When somebody hits you with infrasound, it makes you dizzy. It feels like you've been spinning around and around and around. And then when you get it in heavy doses, it knocks you out. I think it's the shock of it, like the boom of it, that infrasound when it hits you, feels like you're getting immensely dizzy immediately, and then you're out. So it just shocks there's not a good filter on it. So Todd, have you oh, here's a good one. Andrew, thank you. Todd, have you ever witnessed or heard Sasquatch mating? No. Absolutely not whatsoever. 0. So I have literally nothing to do with anything. I mean, I've seen a male Bigfoot's appendage, right? And they look not very big, but maybe it was cold out. Is this funny? I guess that's funny. It was cold out, but the Sasquatch's appendage, when I saw it, I was filming it. That's before the camera got knocked in the water. Long sort of story. But yeah, I had footage of it, and it wasn't that the footage, it was that I was looking through the camera, and I was zooming in on his feet, and then his tight through the legs into the groin, and I saw it vividly, and it looked very small. So it was, but maybe it gets long. Am I really talking about this? So Timothy McCoon says John was the most credible person I can think of. Yeah, I don't know, but also John had his PhD and stuff, but Bob Gimlin, boy, he is so credible to me. What a wonderful man. I can't say enough good things about him. So Brandon Fall, I think I could pronounce that. Have you ever seen but have heard what I believe to be Bigfoot? I've seen a UFO family next to me. Wish I had time for everyone to hear. Yes, we're all here. I have seen, obviously, Brandon, you don't know who I am. Hi, I'm Todd Standing. You should probably go Google my name. Thanks for popping in. I definitely have seen a Sasquatch. And I don't believe they exist. I know they exist. I study them. That's what I do. So I'm recently getting into the whole BC after the past summer digging ginseng. Yeah, I take ginseng. I don't really know the same thing, but I take it anyways. Hey Todd, love your work. Giddy from New Zealand. Oh, that's far, man. New Zealand, Australia, all over the United States. The United States is, you guys are the best for Sasquatch. You guys are top. I'm actually quite disappointed in my the Canadians, and it's funny. You think we'd have a bigger interest in it, but the United States is all over this big time. So, and I hope it'd be nice. I think kind of ideal if the discovery was made there first. Doesn't really matter to me, but I just feel like, when you go to some place like Washington State, oh my God, the Sasquatch researchers there are just everywhere. They're so abundant, and they're, whether you respect the work they're doing or not, and I do, even people that, I might not get along with and they don't do things, I don't know, it's still, they're struggling, Matt Moneymaker's making money with this, so good for him. Yeah, it is what it is, but good day from New Zealand. So how do you think, how much do you think Native Americans are to Sasquatch? How much do I think they are? I think they were really close. I think, though, that the Native Americans pulling away from the wilderness has even taught Sasquatch how much it sucks to pull away from the wilderness. You know what I mean? So, yeah, because the Sasquatch used to be close with the Native Americans, and now the Native Americans are all, become what we would say is, what the Sasquatch would probably say is insane, right? Where they are just dedicated to technology and looking at little computer screens and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, it's been a good lesson, I think. Okay, Barbara, did you watch Expedition Bigfoot? No, I did not. Brandon Fall, weird, misunderstood my message, but thanks for hitting on it. Crap, sorry, Brandon. Jen Jones, yes, David Pilates has books on rating garbage for pads. Okay, David Pilates, yes, he's the 411 guy. I think some people probably know that. Candy Apple, oops, things are going out of control here. Think they will only be discovered when they want to be. And that is kind of how I'm doing it, is trying to help them want to be discovered, maybe. Yeah, that's the way I would explain it. Brad Beaton, I've seen one once about 60 or 70 feet away. I had one scream at my same area, got confused, then they do something we can't. Yeah, they could do a lot of things we can't. Getting screamed at. I've heard about it. People tell me about it a lot. I've never been screamed at. So I think I saw. Yeah. Anyways, I've seen them intimidate and be kind of. I mean, they can be rude, right? They can be pushy and not good, and they scare people sometimes. And so they can be. Well, they're kind of bullies, aren't they? So it's their home. They're big giant primates, and they're bullies. So. Blue says, Todd, what's your relationship at currently? My relationship status is single. Blue, thanks for asking. It's about the good and the bad. Donna Spangler. Okay, Brad Brown. Hi, Todd. If they want you to see them, they will. Well, agreed. And that's why I try to get them to want them to see me. And that's just by loving nature again, getting out to nature and, plants and animals, and showing that you love it, filming things, being positive. and but showing them that you're calm and you have good serenity too. So, do you think that Sasquatch will be in danger if discovered? Dan, I, of course there's going to be dangers with it. The pros just outweigh the cons so dramatically. So, but once we learn about them, I mean, you can't hunt them. People are that crazy though, aren't they? Someone's gonna go try and do that stuff, but aren't they doing it now? I mean, the evidence, when you really think about, like, honestly, the stats I talked about them in my last video. Like, in the United States, anybody who's, gosh, you got like 100 million people believe that Sasquatch are real or probably real. Those are the stats. That's 1 in 3. I don't know. If you're a good hunter, I mean, what the hell? Just Sasquatch is everywhere, and if you're some crazed hunter, you'd figure out Bigfoot's real, and then you could go hunt them right now anyway. So what's the difference? Is it it's never going to be legal to hunt them, and then perhaps if we can start dialogues with them once in a while, we could help protect them. They could stop poaching. They could, they can tell us when people are bothering them. Some guy came around with a gun and was hunting us. You know what I mean? So, and hunting a Sasquatch, my God, I mean, it'd be so futile and ridiculous and possibly, just such a bad idea. So, such a bad idea. But yeah, that's Michael. Are you afraid more of bears or Bigfoot? Bigfoot. I can handle bears. I really read them well. I can't. Whenever there's a Sasquatch around, I feel like I'm out of my league. I feel like he's just gonna dominate me. Like, even for people that know dogs really well, like I know Rotties really well. Big Rottie doesn't scare me. I've had Rotties around a lot in my life, and a pit bull doesn't scare me just because I know how to handle them. So I'm not afraid of them. And I've been around bears to the point where I can read them really well, and I get them, and they make sense to me. I feel like I'm in a position of power and dominance when there's a bear around, significantly. So I don't feel that way. I feel the opposite way about Bigfoot. I feel like, they're clearly the cat, I'm clearly the mouse, and that's it. So there's nothing scarier in the wilderness than Bigfoot. Nothing more exciting than it. Nothing more impressive and amazing, but yeah. Donna Spangler asked about livestock molestation. Oof. Livestock molestation. I don't know anything about that. I really don't like those kind of topics. Just gonna be honest. Yeah. No molestation of livestock, and I'm not gonna start accusing Scotsmen of doing stuff to sheep. So that would just be too speculative. The juvenile I befriended as a little boy looked like Chaka from the Origin. I don't know what that movie is. Land of the Lost? Oh, okay. Have you seen anything like that? Ugh, I wish I knew who Chaka was. This is from the Soul Man Sasquatch. So you befriended a juvenile when you were a little boy. He looked like Chaka. Yeah, I wish I knew what Chaka looked like. But interesting. Anyways, maybe we can think about that, and I could look up what Chaka looks like. So, just interesting. Central Michigan Bigfoot searcher. Does Canada have an Endangered Species Act like the United States? Yeah, absolutely. We share all that kind of stuff. That's why Central Michigan Bigfoot searcher, when I was doing the species protection here in Canada to get the Sasquatch on the endangered species list, it would have fallen straight into the United States. And the goal was to make that happen before anybody even knew about it. So there were lots of things that the story is all screwed up and people don't understand at all what happened. After I got the reason I stopped with the species protection thing is I didn't need to go any further. I got to the branch of the Canadian government that said, this is how exciting it was. So they sat down with me and they said, okay, so I think they called it CISAWIC. It's been a while since I dealt with this. But anyways, Species Endangered Act for Canada. All the big professors and PhDs and stuff are out of there. So anyway, they told me, look, you get a significant piece of a recently deceased body, and we'll give you protection. We'll put them on the endangered species list. Just bring it to us. And what was so cool was I could have brought it if I had gotten that. That's why I got that $2 million reward thing, which is a whole other story. But anyways, yeah. So where was I going? So that was with so the species protection thing was successful, and I was the goal was to get them that significant piece of a recently deceased body, and then they acknowledged Sasquatch as protected species right over in the United States at the same time. Because if they recognize it in Canada, I was hoping they could go, hey, US, let's do this. You know, we got the proof, we're going to acknowledge the species. But I've never been able to get a significant piece of a recently deceased body. Like they were telling me like a leg would do, an arm would do, you know what I mean? Just even an appendage or a head. I don't know how you get a head, but you know, they're just saying like a skull that was, and you know, they were going to take it under advisement. You know, if I found a 60-year-old skull, would that have been enough? Well, we'd talk about it. I mean, how significant is the skull? What are we finding of the skull? And I felt like they were very agreeable to it. And I don't even know if that avenue still exists, to be honest, though, because it was Ross Juliak, who was my man, who did that. And yeah, now he's passed away, so he had all that paperwork and stuff. Well, it was Ross and I, but he kept all the paperwork, and I just helped him with everything. So John G, why do you think it's so hard to get deceased bodies? They must be doing something with them, maybe. We'll look at the Langchun China Gigano. It was Gigantopithecus bodies. They'd been putting their bodies there. So, but you know, even though just such a rare species, and unless you saw a skull, how would you even be able to identify, you know, a Sasquatch arm versus a bear's leg? People can't. It's not easy, guys. We look very, very similar. Even like an elk leg bone as to a human femur. You really to recognize the subtle differences. You know, you have to be. You know, they even had there's a specialty for it, a forensic pathologist. And not too many of them are wandering around the bush, and bodies don't linger for very long. So I'm just going to do a couple more questions here, guys. I feel really crappy today. This cough medicine is kicking my ass. Mid-South Sasquatch, which I love the sound of it. Have you seen M.K. Davies' remake of rather deportion of how or a human can put a cypress root by hand from Turnic? No, I don't know about any of that stuff. M.K. Davis. I know about M.K. Davis for his studying of Sasquatch footage and stuff. He was supposed to look at some of mine. I don't know what happened with that. But do you know of sightings in Kansas, Todd? Oof, not really. Even have an expeditioner from Kansas. Awesome guy, but yeah, he didn't talk much about there being Sasquatch there. And so yeah, just a couple more questions here, guy. How long do you think Bigfoots live? I think a dominant male would probably live till about 50, and the females, gosh, I don't know, somewhere in the same, I guess. I go by that based on how hard life it is, and this is in the Pacific Northwest and into Canada, where we get winters and it's bad, right? So it's hard on your life to go through winters, and it's really tough. So Christy Horrell, me too, Brian Chester, frightened the living daylights out of me. So she's talking about different types of Bigfoot out there. How long do you think Bigfoots live? Devil face, please talk about it. That's video 8. I called it that devil's video because I've seen so many times like the devil's footstool, the devil's gulf, and it's been in Sasquatch habitat, especially in Montana. I saw a lot of that. So I just did it in honor of that, but anyways, in recognition of people calling them devils. But yeah, he was really upset with me. I was gonna say pissed off, but I don't think I can say that, even though I just did. Sorry. And yeah, try not to use profanity, but yeah, he was really angry at me. That's why he was blinking so fast. And I never ever would have seen him if it wasn't for I never would have got that footage if I didn't have that 50 times optical zoom camera that has high sensitivity to light, because he was in it. All I saw was with my eyes is there was a light spot, and then it went dark. And I heard a boom. It sounded like a Sasquatch. It just boom hit the ground there. So I zoomed in with that camera, and it lit up the dark area, and you could see it brilliantly. I mean, just look at video 8. It's pretty impressive stuff. So just a couple more questions, guys. They do need protections. Turns out they do need protection. It protects us too, because humans destroy the woods and disrespect nature. Well, and their habitat sure would need protection, I mean, and damming up the rivers, making the salmon not come up anymore, and there's so much damage that we do. It's completely irresponsible. So but that would lean towards more of a reason for them to be discovered. Okay, guys, last question, Todd. I have a question. You said that the Sasquatch have offspring with human females. What happened to those babies and to the mothers? And see, the only reason we know that is because of the DNA, right? So, and again, I have to stress that it was the females that would have survived, bred back into Sasquatch. The males wouldn't be able to breed. Remember, you have to breed back into the population. I talked about this on the previous episode, though. So, and I still feel uncomfortable a lot talking about humans breeding with Sasquatch. It's I know people want to hear about it, but yeesh. Yeah, it's very uncomfortable. Do Bigfoots wear different hairstyles? No, never seen anything to indicate that. It's not actually a crazy question. I was thinking about, well, I've seen, some that I saw one that had a receding hairline, which is in video 8. You seen that his hair was back a little further, but it's not so much the style, right? And the hair on him was just a little more sparsely. So, but it's not a style. His hair looked different. So, Jake Fair, Todd, can you message me about how, what happened? Todd, can you message me about how you named them Jake and Jacob? That's me and my son's name. He's 7. Oh, just did. I don't know. We started with Jane, John, Jake, and just J names. So, and Jake is my main Sasquatch that used to come around, and Jacob was his little brother who, I don't even know if Jacob's still out there. I mean, you'd think he would be by deduction, but yeah, I just don't know. I have so much to learn. So anyway, that's going to be the show for today, guys. We're 42 minutes in, and yeah, I just drinking a lot. It's been a crazy, exhausting couple of days for me, but thank you so much. And so would you Throwback Thursdays tomorrow? Then I'm doing my Sasquatch Sunday video, and of course I just love Wednesdays with you guys. So thanks so much for tuning in, guys, and we'll see you next week. And watch the videos, and watch there's last week's video was really good, about the Sasquatch tracks, and not a lot of people were interested in it, which is kind of shocking to me, but I thought it was a great video. Watch it if you haven't seen it. Okay,